Okay, this is just looking at Halloween spells. I mean, Halloween spells came out during Screen Fortress 2012, and basically they were again obtainable in 2013. However, the Halloween spells are only visible in Halloween, and then in 2014, basically you had some trading ability with spells, but Screen Fortress 2015 spells are not acquirable, and Hidden Halloween gifts were replaced by a Soul Gargoyle, and basically they became completely untradeable after the tough break update, which is really, a lot of people would stockpile them hoping that they would translate into profit or something that they could use as a commodity, and unfortunately a lot of players were caught out in this. So the footprint effects, there's Team Spirit, Gangrene, Corpse Grey, Violet, Rotten Orange, which I like, Bruised Purple, I also don't mind, Headless Horseman is probably the pick of the litter. Then you've got the other Halloween spells. You've got a Dye Job, you've got Spectral Spectrum, you've got Putrescent Pigmentation, Sinister Staining, Chromatic Corruption, which is my favourite. Then you've got a Scout Spectral Snarl, a Soldier's Booming Bark, a Pyro's Muffled Moan, a Doberman's Cadaverous Croak, and a Heavy's Bottomless Bass, Engineer's Gravelly Growl, Medic's Blood Curling Bellow, Sniper's Deep Down Under Drawl, and a Spy's Creepy Croon. Then you have Exorcism, so-called Squash Rockets, which there were Sentry Quad Pumpkins, Spectral Flame, which is the Halloween Fire, and the Gourd Grenade. So you had some interesting effects that were available, but I mean I hardly ever see any of these Scout specific effects and other class specific effects, and I'm really keen. I'd love to see some of them. So yeah, they're not something I've had a look at. Obviously the Pyro is my major class, so let's have a look here. But what is it? It says here, Halloween Spell Muffling Moans, and it expired in November 2012, and I guess it would be applied to a certain item. I've never actually ever seen it. And it will lower the pitch at which a wearer speaks if I have a cosmetic item equipped to any Pyro or all class hat. Okay, this is called the Pyro's Muffled Moan. Isn't that not like Voices from Below? I'm really intrigued to say, I've never actually seen this spell. I've seen lots of Voices from Below. If we go back here, now in this lot of spells, where's Voices from Below? Is Voices from Below a separate thing? Voices from Below. I can't see it. I'm just wondering if all of these guys here turned into Voices from Below. I guess the thing is, what we could do is just put down Voices from and search Voices from Below and see if it comes up. Or Voices from, or maybe below. Below. Voices from Below. No. Beasts from Below. What about Voices? Okay, add Voices. Voices from Below. What the hell? So I'm just wondering whether some of these spells actually ended up, here, it's due to them all playing the same effect, Voices from Below. Here we are, Halloween spells. So here, it says in here, the type of spells. So here, okay, Exorcism. spells that are meant to be used on one class can apply to accessories which can be equipped by multiple classes, granting the spell's ability to do whatever class. This is due to them all have the same effect voiced below. The only real difference is which cosmetics to be applied to. So, so a pyro one could only be applied to pyro and an all-classer, okay, or something a pyro could wear. But they all had the same effect. So that's why voices below. This is what's happened to these items here. So all of these ones here have been all the class specific ones have all ended up becoming voices from below. But if it was on a scout hat, a scout only hat, it would have originally been the scout specific one. Okay, so that's what happened to them. So let's have a look at Exorcism. Now, Exorcism, as applied to any weapon, any kills will cause the team-coloured ghost particles to arrive from the corpse of the victim. Okay, so the corpse. So let's have a look here. The blue ghosts. Can we see that here? I don't know. Hopefully we can see that. I'll have a look. Yes, I think we can see that. So that's what happens with Exorcism. Okay, this is really useful, this session here. I'm finding things about spells I just didn't know. Dude, what am I doing? What am I doing, man? What am I doing? Okay, so that's what Exorcism is ghosts come out of the body, okay? Let's go back. So we know what Exorcism is. We know what voices below. There's all of these other ones here, like the gourd grenades. Those grenades, so basically they are the same amount as squash rockets and quad robots, applied to Halloween pumpkin bombs in the loadout. Okay, so all of those become Halloween pumpkin bombs. So I guess it's any explosive demo man weapon. So this one was for demo man, but it still had inverted commas pumpkin bombs. If you go back here, this one here, Sentry Quad, that would obviously be the Sentry. The Engineer's equivalent would also has inverted commas pumpkin bombs. So there's many roads to all roads lead to pumpkin bombs. Now the Spectral Flame one is the pyros. This is where you can get the flogs with the Halloween fire effect. So that's where that comes from the spectral flame spell. So let's go back here. So we've explained a lot of those things, and that probably explains that either a demo man or an engineer has actually put up one of my golden pans has got a pumpkin bomb thing. Even though it can't shoot them, it's still got the spell on it, and that's because obviously it was equipped by one of these classes that could deploy these spells. So that explains a lot of those. So let's go along here and see some of the other effects. Well, the chromatic corruption effect basically is it when applied, the color resembles a deep commitment to purple, but shifts subtly between various shades and used from purple to pink. So it's got like a corruption effect, and it's quite good. So that's what it is. So it's purple, and between that and purplish pink. So that's chromatic corruption. So let's go back and let's have a look at the next one. So what these spells are. The other spells are the footprints are easy. We know those. They're obvious. Die job. Now what's die job? Die job means that between bright yellow like Australium and grey purplish and deep blue. So it basically is a variation in side effect between yellow and blue. So die job is much like the other spell that we sort of looked at before that, which is this is a so-called spectral spectrum, which talks about between bright orange and red deep pulsating. So these are just colour spells. Okay, so let's go along here. That's die job, spectral spell. Putrescent pigmentation is another type. Sinister staining. sinister staining, bright yellow and green, and drabby orange paint, pulsing in intensity. So all of these are just effects that are supposed to be eerie that are given to hats of various colour things. So that's a dye job, the spectral spectrum, the putrescent pigmentation. For you guys that don't know, as I say, spectrum is one on the red team between shades of bright yellow, orange, and red. On blue, light blue and white. So it's actually it's almost like a unique paint that changes in colour during with the cycle during the game. So I hope that's sort of interesting you for spells. Certainly. I mean, I didn't know that the voices below actually came about from multiple spells from different classes. I thought it was just one spell. So I've certainly learnt something today. Peace.